In my opinion, this is the most underrated project launched this year in an unbelievable location with stunning architecture. This is Serenia District in Jumeirah Islands. In recent years, it's become extremely popular. You know, prices here have absolutely soared. In the last year alone, it's soared 34%. Location is right here, where my laser pointer is right now. 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, and 3 bedrooms, and a penthouse. 2 and 3 bedrooms pretty much sold out before it even came to market. But in future releases, they will have more 2 beds and 3 beds. The numbers, as I mentioned, always the most important thing. Is it good value for money, and is there potential upside from an investment perspective? The average size of a 1 bedroom in Serenia is about 850 square foot. On a price per square foot basis is about 2,575 dirhams per square foot. This is going to be a popular master community, and end users will be definitely wanting to live here and will be paying a premium. What do I think is the best way to approach this project? There is scope for a return on equity play where you sell before handover. This is so far my project of the year that's gone under the radar. This is Serenia District in Jumeirah Islands. Hi everyone, this is Jordan Zachariah from Sqft Real Estate, Senior Manager in the Off-Plan team. I'm coming with another video today, a project I'm very excited to talk about called Serenia District by Palma Holdings, located in Jumeirah Islands. Really excited to talk about this project. I think it's gone under the radar a bit this year, but in my opinion, from an investment side of things, there's amazing potential. And from end user perspective, I think this is going to be a project that once completed is going to be extremely popular, thus making it good for investors as well. Going to break it down here today. First of all, we're going to talk about the location. So in terms of location, here is the wider map of Dubai. First, I want to just talk about where the location is in the scheme of Dubai. Obviously, I know a lot of people that are watching this video are probably based in Dubai already and they'll know the location very well, but for people that are potentially international and are not too familiar with the geography of Dubai, let's talk about it quickly. So here's downtown Dubai. Over here, this is where DIFC is, a lot of the commercial activities, Burj Khalifa, Dubai Mall, etc. Here is Dubai Marina, Palm Jumeirah. This is obviously a very big hotspot for tourists, especially Dubai Marina, JBR. This is where you get a lot of tourists coming to enjoy the beach, etc. And then from here downwards is Dubai south of Dubai, where we have the upcoming Palm Jabal Ali and a ton more development even going further down than this screen shows. This is where a lot of, well, people are calling it an emerging area because you have the Al Maktoum Airport, which will be the biggest airport in the world once completed. So a lot of government investment going to this part of Dubai, including Expo, etc. Why is that important? Because if you look on the map, you can see Dubai Marina, Emirates Living, etc. This area is very central. You know, you're still close to downtown Dubai, but you're in touching distance of the future of Dubai, as some people like to call it. So that makes it quite an attractive proposition for anyone that wants to be centrally located to get around Dubai. Some people are going to prefer to be on this side of Dubai. As I mentioned in my last video, Nad Al Sheba Gardens, which is over here, serves the clientele perfectly here. But today we're talking about this area here, which is a very prime location. Let's zoom in a bit further to actually look at the plot in more detail. So this is Emirates Living, the oldest community in Dubai by Amar, the first master community, super popular, amazing for end users. This is Emirates Hills, twinned with Beverly Hills. We have the meadows, and here is Jumeirah Islands. This is a community that in recent years has become extremely popular. You know, prices here have absolutely soared. In the last year alone, it's soared 34% increase in prices. Very popular, very exclusive. You know, you have lakes obviously running through the community. You can see from the satellite image. But yeah, you now have homes, I think, average transaction prices around the 20 million dirham mark, which is about £4 million. So very prime location. You have stunning views. I've been in this community and I'm personally renting in a tower called Uptown here, and I've seen the views from Uptown to Jumeirah Islands, absolutely stunning, and we'll talk more about that later. But yeah, Dubai Marina here, my office and where I'm stood right now is around here, and then obviously you have Palm Jumeirah and the beach, JBR, very close by. So amazing location, and the plot for Serenia District and why this is just such an unbelievable location is right here, where my laser pointer is right now. This plot here, this has been left untouched for a while. There was construction there previously that didn't go ahead, and it's just been abandoned, you could say, for quite a while. The same in this plot here, you can even see it. But Serenia District had this whole plot. Palma Holdings have this whole plot of land, which is in Jumeirah Islands. As I said, we know this is a prime location. This is their plot. This is JLT. It's not in JLT, it is in Jumeirah Islands. And they have this whole plot, and they're going to be building a master community of apartments, a gated master community. That's really rare, and we're going to dive into that now. In terms of access for major highways, Sheikh Zayed Road is just here. The biggest road and most important artery in Dubai. It takes you straight to downtown and obviously to Dubai South as well. And you can see the plots just here. Very easy access onto Sheikh Zayed as well, which is very important. That's the location in a nutshell. Anyone that is familiar with Dubai, you know this is a very prime location, an unbelievable plot of land for this project. So I think location is a big check in terms of investment potential and end user appeal for this community. Let's dive into the developer. Palma Holdings, they were founded in 1998. The development side of their business was in 2002. They've got over 20 years of experience in luxury property development and community management. They've delivered over 6 million square foot of premium properties, which has a value of over $4 billion. Standout projects include Serenia Residences on the Palm, Serenia Living on the Palm, which is still under construction, as well as the Silverine Towers in Marina, very, very popular towers and very close to us right now where I'm filming. And also the Cayenne Tower, which is a very recognizable tower. We'll throw images for these on the screen, but it's a tower that looks like a spiral. I'm sure many people, again, who have been to Dubai or live in Dubai will recognize this tower. That was built by Palma Holdings. They're known for their quality, their handover timing, and also focusing on just a small amount of projects to ensure quality is good and the handover time is hit. They're not a mass developer. They're more focused in that sense, and I quite like that, especially that they handle all the community management after. I feel that's a nice touch because they want to keep the premium feel of their community, how they envisaged it from the start. They also have a good track record. If you look at their Serenia Residences project on the Palm, that's delivered a 30 to 50% uplift in over 3 years, which is good, and we'll be talking more about their track record in our analysis later. Moving on to talk about the community overview, the design team, the master plan features, and the amenities, which in my opinion is one of the most exciting things about this community. The architecture is just absolutely stunning, and the whole community plan I think is just amazing, and I think this is going to be an unbelievable community for end users. So it's a 600,000 square foot master plan. There's going to be 6 residential towers with podium townhouses and 6 different lifestyle zones throughout the community. It's going to be a gated apartment community, which I mentioned earlier, which is very rare for Dubai. There's only a limited amount of gated apartment communities. And it's going to have beautiful views over Jumeirah Islands, Emirates Living, Emirates Hills, Meadows, etc., and also the JLT skyline as well. My favorite thing about the project is the architectural design and who they've partnered with to bring their vision to life. It has Japanese-inspired design, and its architecture looks, like I said, absolutely gorgeous. They're partnering with the world-renowned architects Nick and Seki, the same architects who did Wanzabil, which is a standout project in Dubai. I'm sure many people are familiar with that project. Again, if not, we'll throw up an image so you can see what it looks like. But they're partnering with the same architects that did that. And in my opinion, they are really taking it to another level in Serenia District and this project. Again, we're going to go through the renders. We're going to throw them on the screen so you can get an idea of what I'm talking about. But it's going to have its own lake in the community, inspired by a real lake, a real iconic lake in Japan. They're going to be using nature to filter this lake. You know, I know it's in Dubai, the climate's very harsh, so it's difficult to keep these things as away from artificial as possible. This is going to be all naturally filtered. They've really been meticulous with the details. They've chosen nature, shrubbery, foliage that is compatible with the conditions here in Dubai, whilst also incorporating that Japanese theme of the colors, etc. So just looks beautiful, and lots of greenery and landscaping. The standouts in the community includes a stunning 100,000 square foot clubhouse, exclusive for residents, no memberships, so people from outside can get in. It's an exclusive residential community. It has a wellness lounge, a spa, state-of-the-art gym, paddle court, cafe, multi-purpose sports rooms. It's got a beautiful, beautiful infinity pool with stunning views over Jumeirah Islands. It has a kid area as well. And on top of that, you have these other lifestyle zones I mentioned, which are placed throughout the community. We'll throw the master plan on so you can see what I'm talking about there. But you have the wellness retreat, the sports area, health and social area, family area, nature zen garden as well. So this community's got it all. In the hustle and bustle of the buyer, this is going to be a retreat from that hustle and bustle, and it just to me is amazing. Combined with the architecture, the master planning, the location of it, and just how exclusive it is to residents, I really feel like it's going to be a paradise amongst the city. So yeah, beautiful, beautiful design, beautiful master community, and a beautiful plan as well. So moving forward, what's available? What products are they delivering to the market in this community? So they launched phase one a few months ago. As I mentioned, there's 6 towers. Phase one is going to be, I think, is the tallest tower in their residential community. And that was 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, and 3 bedrooms, and a penthouse. Potentially they will have 4 bedrooms later on, more 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, and 3 bedrooms. 2 and 3 bedrooms pretty much sold out before it even came to market. It sold out to VIP clients. There was an extremely limited amount of 2 and 3 bedrooms that came to the live market before Palma sort of released it. So currently there's only 1 beds available, which we'll talk about in this video. But in future releases, they will have more 2 beds and 3 beds. And if you're someone that is really keen, based on the things I've said so far, and at the end of this video you feel like could be of interest to you, please get in touch with me as soon as possible. We're expecting the next phase to launch after summer, so September, October, November time. And they're already asking people to submit with brokers on a VIP list so they can inform us for the 2 beds and 3 beds, because there is just an overwhelming demand, because naturally those units have the best views in the community. So if that is something that interests you, please do reach out to me. Key timelines. So the handover for phase 1 was Q4, or is Q4 2028. Phase 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. is likely going to be Q4 2029. They plan to hand over the whole community in that 1 year, Q4 28, Q4 29. That's their goal, that's their plan. As I mentioned, Palma have good track records, and they want it to not be a construction zone. And they even have planned that the other towers will all be built by the time the first tower is constructed. So you're not living in a construction zone. Again, they're just really thinking about the people that are going to be living here, and I love that. So once Tower 1's handed over, you're not even going to be seeing the construction of the other towers. They're going to be finished. It's just the inside interior works they're going to be doing for that year to hand it over. So there's not going to be anything noisy or disturbing the residents. Floor plans and layouts. Going to throw on the screen the typical floor plans and layouts that were in phase 1. As I mentioned, 1 bedrooms are the only units currently available, but just so you're aware, I want you to have an understanding of what these floor plans were, the sizes, because I think the sizes are, again, another really big plus point about this development. You know, we're living in a time now where from a lot of the major developers, the floor plans are getting smaller and smaller compared to what they used to launch a long time ago. I feel like it's getting better recently, but the sizes here, in my opinion, are good. You have the 1 bedrooms from about 800 to 900 square foot, 2 bedrooms are around 1,400 square foot built up, and 3 bedrooms around 2,600, which I think we'll all agree is quite generous sizing in today's market. Please feel free to message me if you'd like the floor plan booklet directly or the project brief to see the renders in a bit more detail from what I've thrown up on screen today. Message me directly. You can leave a comment, or my number will be in the description or on the video, and I'll be more than happy to send that through to you. Prices and payment plans. So as I mentioned, only 1 bedrooms are available. If you want information on what the 2 bedrooms were priced at and the 3 bedrooms, again, reach out to me, and also what I predict they'll be priced at in phase 2. 1 bedrooms were starting 1.8 million, going up to around 2.4 million, depending on the size, the floor level, the view, etc. They have some units remaining. It is very limited, but around 1.9-ish to 2.1, 2.2 million dirhams. As I mentioned, handover is Q4 2028 and the payment plan is 60/40. Now let's talk about the comparative analysis. The numbers, as I mentioned, always the most important thing for a lot of investors. Does it make sense? Is it good value for money? And is there potential upside from an investment perspective? Going to jump into that now. I do want to mention again that I think everyone will agree that the master plan, the architectures, the location looks amazing. And I really genuinely believe this is going to be an unbelievable community for end users, especially due to its location in Jumeirah Island, which I think is something it's hard to factor into just number analysis at this stage. But come handover, I am absolutely certain this is going to be a popular master community and end users will be definitely wanting to live here and will be paying a premium to live here. First, let's look at the price per square foot benchmarking model. This is where I like to have a look at comparable projects, towers in the same location or similar location to see what they're trading at in today's market. Look at this off plan, see the value for money essentially. So it's quite difficult in this area to find a comparable for a gated apartment master community because that doesn't exist in this area. And the other thing is the quality of this master plan, the project. I think it's, if anything, I think this is going to stand above anything that's ready now, 100%. And even some of the recent off-plan projects, I feel like are going to be struggling to compete with this, in my opinion. That being said, we do need to have a look at something. So bear in mind the location map I showed you earlier. In my opinion, I think the best comparable is DMCC's building is Uptown Tower. The location is very similar. If you imagine, and maybe we'll throw the image up, but Serenia District's plots here, and then just like horizontally across is Uptown. It's outside of Jumeirah Islands, so it doesn't have the benefit of being in Jumeirah Islands, but it has very similar views. It's got views over Jumeirah Islands. It's got views towards the marina, which is a bit more unobstructed than Serenia District, but also just the feel of that building. If you've ever been in there, it's a hotel and residences, and it's a newer building. It's got nice quality. It's got valet parking. Very nice. I'm going to be renting in that building. I've been in the building. I've seen the views from that building. I've seen the amenities. It's very nice. And compared to a lot of what's built in Marina at the moment, older buildings, JLT, older buildings, in my opinion, this is the most, or one of the most premium buildings in that area and the most comparable in terms of location. So with that being said, what is Uptown trading at today? The average size of a one bedroom in Serenia is about 850 square foot. The entry price on a price per square foot basis, again, average is about 2,575 dirhams per square foot. Uptown one bedrooms are trading at about 3,300 dirhams per square foot. So looking at those numbers and putting it into something a bit more digestible, if we look at a Serenia District one bedroom, which is at about 2.188750 million dirhams, that with an Uptown price per square foot can reach 2.805 million dirhams. There's about a 800 dirham delta, 8 to 700 dirham delta on the price per square foot, clear discount, and a potential dirham gain of 616,000 dirhams, 28.2% capital appreciation if by handover it reaches Uptown's price per square foot. That's the key assumption. That's also bearing in mind that in the 3.5 years from today to handover, Uptown does not increase a fil. We all know that the market's appreciating. Apartments have so far this year in H1 increased on average about 8%, but just assuming Uptown does not go up in price anymore, that is the potential, in my opinion, for Serenia District to reach a comparable tower. And that's not taken into effect, as I mentioned, it's a gated master community. It's got all these amenities. It's got better views, in my opinion. All of these things, I think it will surpass Uptown. So on a conservative basis, on the price per square foot benchmarking model, we're looking at a 28.2% capital gain. Since there's a lack of comparables, let's also have a look at Palma's track record. How have their other projects done? Let's have a look at their project on the Palm. I know Palma is a completely different piece of real estate compared to Jumeirah Islands, but let's just have a look and see how their project there has done. So Serenia Residences on the Palm has seen an appreciation of almost 30% since 2022 on the one bedrooms. I'm pulling some live transaction data from Property Monitor, which is government data, and we've got the units, so again you can literally check it for yourself if you want. But I've pulled about 5 units here and looked at all their price changes from end of 2021 till today. That's not including when their initial sale from Sqft actually was released. It's just looking at resale values because I want to look at the modern market. I don't want to look at stuff during COVID because, you know, it's a different market then. I appreciate this is just after COVID, but this is the data we have. So this is the table, this is the units. You can see the individual appreciations there. You can see it varies, some from 14% up to 50%, but blended average of all those units is about 30%. So that's a decent track record in the last year for a one-bedroom apartment. Bear in mind that's recently handed over. I think we'll gain more popularity as time goes on. But yeah, 30% on average for a one-bedroom appreciation on Serenia Residence for their track record. Thirdly, I want to have a look at how the area has performed. So JLT, again, not a perfect comparison for Jumeirah Islands, but it's literally like meters apart from where this plot is. So having a look at how JLT as an apartment community as a whole has performed over the last 12 months. There's been almost 11% increase in the residential price in JLT over the last 12 months, which is again positive. It's again not a perfect analysis because we're combining a whole variety of different apartments there. You've got branded residences such as Banyan Tree Residences, which is, you know, quite nice, and then you have a lot of the older buildings in there. You have off-plan which is in there as well, but over the last 12 months, JLT has appreciated almost 11% in the last 12 months, and I'll explain where I'm going with this shortly, but we'll throw the diagram on screen, the graph on screen so you can see. Finally, as I mentioned, the H1 report we just released has shown that apartments have grown by around 8% so far this year, and that's the average growth for all apartments. Again, not perfect because we're including areas like Dubai Marina, where the growth has actually only been about 2%. We're including areas such as Dubai Land Residential Complex, which is a completely different product location to Serenia. But again, I feel like if we're taking the average of the market, that's not a bad thing because it feels like it's a bit more conservative. It's not a perfect analysis. And as I mentioned, if you're someone that really wants to dig into these details and look at a proper scenario analysis, more than happy to do that. But for the purposes of this video, I want to keep it at a digestible level and a bit more conservative because I feel that's the best way to be. So 8% has been the appreciation so far on a yearly rate for apartments. So looking at those 3 percentages I just mentioned, if we then throw them into a blended analysis, so we're taking all the growth rates and combining them together to try and work out a forecast of, like I said, we've got JLT's performance over the last 12 months, we've got apartments on average in Dubai over the last 12 months, and we've also got Serenia Residences performance over the last 3 years really. Taking those percentages, we can blend them together and create a potential forecast that predicts how a one-bedroom in Serenia District can perform based on real life data we've got until Q4 2028. And further to that, we can apply a specific weight to those percentages, like how much importance we want to give them in our forecast and calculation. Because, you know, as I mentioned, taking the annual average apartment growth rate is good, but it takes into account so many different variables which, you know, might not be that relevant to Serenia. So in my calculations, I've given Palma's track record a much heavier significance because at the end of the day, that's the developer, that's their product. How have they performed? How have their products performed from an investment point of view? So I've given Palma's track record the biggest influence in this calculation. I've then given JLT's growth over last year the second biggest influence, though less significant than Palma's. And then the average apartment growth over the last 12 months, the least significance in these weighted calculations. I think that's the fairest way to do it. Taking those numbers, taking the weighted contributions and blending them together has given me a blended growth rate of 32.48% for a 1-bedroom in Serenia District in Jumeirah Islands by the time Q4 2028 rolls around. What's quite nice about that analysis and that number, the 32.5%, is looking at those factors of the market, is when you compare it with the price per square foot benchmarking model we did for Uptown, we had a potential appreciation of around 28%. So at 32.5%, those numbers are quite close and quite similar, which suggests a good consistency and realistic appreciation. So then what we can do to take it a level further is we take our price per square foot benchmarking model, Uptown, the comparable, the real life data today on a similar-ish building, and the growth rates of Palma's track record, the JLT apartment market, the buyer's annual apartment market, the growth of the day, and we combine them together. We can then apply an even weight to both of those, Uptown's benchmarking model and the compound annual growth rate model, and with a blended rate, the number comes out to 30.32%. And if you've followed none of what I've just said, what I'm saying is we're looking at a potential appreciation of 30% essentially for these 1-bedrooms until handover Q4 2028 from today, which is about 10-ish% per year if you want to average it out. But that's a pretty healthy growth rate on the 1-bedrooms. 1-bedrooms typically don't appreciate as quick as a 2-bedroom or 3-bedroom because 2-bedrooms, 3-bedrooms are angled towards families who are prepared to pay more of a premium because that's more of a longer home for them. 1-bedroom, you see a bit more of a higher transaction because that's people going in and out, mainly used for rentals. But because 1-bedrooms are available units today, that's what I wanted to focus on and that's what I wanted to talk about. And I think we'd all agree, like I said, I think this is a conservative appreciation of 30%. Bear in mind, like I said, I think this is going to be a standout community in its area, but a conservative 30% appreciation till handover on Q4 2028. I think that's very healthy. And when you look at the rental yield as well, which we're going to jump into in a second, I think this is why I think it's such a safe and strong investment. In terms of ROI projections on a rental perspective, for those investors that like this project and want a passive income plan on when they get the keys, renting it out as a 1-bedroom and just letting the growth from a capital appreciation perspective compound over time, maybe hold it for a couple of years. This is what I project from an ROI perspective. I'm going to keep this bit a bit more brief, but in terms of yields and amounts, so using our comparable analysis on Uptown Tower, that's a tower I'm literally going to be renting. I've signed my tenancy contract, but for a 1-bedroom in Uptown Tower, average rent is about $150. Plus or minus, you have, like I said, Jumeirah Islands views, you have marina views, you have towards Jebel Ali views, but 150K is about the annual rent in Uptown. In my opinion, I think that is an absolute floor for a 1-bedroom in Serenia District because that's a standalone tower. This is a whole community with a 100,000 square foot clubhouse, a lake, 6 different lifestyle zones. It just is completely better. So as an absolute floor, 150K, in my opinion, I think it can reach much higher than that. But let's say between 150 and 170K. If we take that range on a gross yield perspective, looking at a unit in Serenia District at about 2.2 million. So let's not even look at the 1.9s, the 2s. Let's look at something on the higher end, 2.2 million. As a gross yield, we're looking from about 7 to 8% on a gross basis. And then if you want to look at a more net, we're looking at about 6 to 7% on a net yield. In my opinion, that's an absolute floor. If you're an investor who cares a bit more about the ROI projection, your plan is to rent, reach out to me. We can look at the ROI and have a bit more of a definitive figure. But yeah, on a gross yield, I'm expecting anywhere from 7 to 8% and 6 to 7 on a net basis. And like I said, I really think that's just scratching the surface on a project like this. I would not be surprised if at some point in the future, we're looking at 10%. And that's, again, I'm not even going to jump into looking at the compound annual growth rate, how rents are rising in the area, this project that is newer than everything here. Let's just forget about that. Let's be as conservative as possible. Let's go on the market today as an absolute floor. We're looking at a gross of, let's say, 7-8%. Really nice yields. And again, just for me, emphasizes how much of a good investment this project is. So who is this project for? End users or investors? Both. As always, any project I'm pitching will be good for both because in my opinion, the two go hand in hand. If it's good for an end user, it's going to be good for an investor. And honestly, if anything, like I really am looking forward to this handing over. If I was in a different stage of my life, I would be waiting for this to hand over and I would be living in there because my office is in Marina Plaza. For me, I need something that's easy to commute to. And it was very difficult. I'm speaking from the perspective of a tenant in this market, a real life user case. Very difficult to find something that's, a bit more modern, has got a nicer finish and, is a bit more upmarket in this area. A lot of the buildings are old. You still have some amazing buildings, but, traffic in Marina, all of these things, traffic in JLT, etc. So I'm so excited for this to hand over and I wish it was ready now because it would have my custom 100%. I would be the first resident in Serenia District, let me tell you that for free. But yeah, and I think that's something that we're going to see in the trend in the off-plan market. If we look at all the projects launching, the levels they're going to entice investors to put their money with them, the amenities, the services they're offering, I can't wait for these newer builds to hand over because it's going to really put to pressure on these older buildings because, just having a pool and a basic gym is just not going to cut it anymore. This is a whole community lifestyle living, just phenomenal in a prime location. So from end users, I think it's going to be amazing. And I've personally sold to owners in Jumeirah Islands. I've sold units in this project to them because they love the location. And then you dive into the actual details and it's just amazing. They bought it for investment and they've also bought it for end use. Some of their kids, they want to move in there when it hands over. Exit strategy, what do I think is the best way to approach this project? So this is quite unique because, as I mentioned, when you look at a return on equity play, you want to look at payment plans which have a larger handover percentage. This has got 40% due on handover, which is a sizable chunk. So I think there is actually there is scope for a return on equity play where you sell before handover, especially when this comes closer to 2028, once the building's up, people have heard about it. Because as I mentioned, I really think this is going under the radar. As I mentioned, I've spoke to a lot of the owners in this area and they didn't have a clue that this is happening. And I still think they don't have a clue, a lot of them. So as this gains momentum, I really think a return on equity play is possible where you cash out and you see a nice return on your initial sum invested over the payment plan. I think that's definitely one strategy, particularly with the 2-bed and 3-bed units. Then, of course, holding till handover. I think that's definitely a play where you can look for just pure capital appreciation, exit upon the handover, maybe a few months after. And then also, I really think if, depending on the unit type you're selecting, if it's a 1-bedroom, my recommendation was to wait till handover, rent it out for a year, 2 years, sell at a capital appreciation. And then if it's a 2-bed, 3-bed, as I mentioned, I think those units will see a higher spike in growth. And if we look at Palma's track record on 2 and 3 bedrooms, it's even better than 1 bedrooms. So yeah, I think this project's got a strategy for all different investors. So yeah, this is why I really love this project. There's a lot of flexibility around it. So definitely reach out to me if you want to discuss what your exit strategy looks like, if you want something a bit personalized to you, what your goals are and what I would recommend for you in this market and what the market could look like when this hands over. So in summary, I really think this is so far my project of the year that's gone under the radar. Not many people are talking about it. I think architecturally stunning. The people behind it are world-renowned. The location's amazing. The numbers are good. And something I didn't even mention in my analysis is if you look at projects that have launched off-plan very recently, you have Jumeirah Horizon, which is very close by, which is selling at, I think, 300 to 400 dirhams more on a price per square foot basis than Serenia District. And in my opinion, Serenia District comes out and trumps Jumeirah Horizon. You then have Ellington's project, which is actually in the plot next door, Eltira Heights. Ellington will be launching 4 towers there. I love Ellington as a developer. I think that's also going to be an amazing investment. So if you haven't heard about that, definitely reach out. We can talk about it. But that's not going to be a gated master community. This is going to be a unified community. So in my opinion, I think Serenia District is better from that perspective. But Ellington's first tower was launching at a similar-ish price per square foot. But yeah, I really just think this is an amazing project all round. So please leave comments what do you think about this project? Do you think my analysis is realistic? Do you think the concept sounds good? Any questions, leave in the comments. If you like this video, please leave a like, and I look forward to seeing everyone in the next video. Thanks.